Hey everybody, my name is Corinna and I am making this introduction video so that you guys can kind of get to know me, kind of figure out what my cause is, and figure out why the hell I'm making these videos and doing what I'm doing. So let me give you guys a little background on me. I got into the field of healing after going through what I would call a very intense and still continuing life transformation. So I kind of was born into a situation that wasn't the most conducive for a child. There was a lot of trauma there. And as I started to go through life, I started to notice that I was following the same patterns as people in my family, people around me, and I'm a very pattern thinker. I started realizing, like, wait a minute, this is where they were, this is what's caused that, this is still where they're at, I don't want to be there. So I realized that in order to find happiness, I had to sort of do something a little bit different. And about 10 years ago, I started the journey of trying to find myself. I went down so many different avenues, every religion you could think of, every way of spiritual healing you could think of, following gurus, you name it, right? Buying all the crystals, all the remedies, all the things. And really what it led me back to was the understanding that healing really does come from within. And for so many years, I would hear that saying and I would just not quite get what it was. I felt like it was sort of like a bumper sticker type thing, or a thing that somebody shared on Facebook to kind of get likes to sound profound. But over time, I started to understand what that meant. I spent so many years of my life looking for someone to give me the answers on how to be happy and to tell me who I was and what my purpose was. And I found a lot of answers through these sources, but it was really things that were pulled out of me in the sessions that I would do with these people. And so then I started to take things into my own hands, started doing a little more meditation, started doing my own digging in my own ways, sort of developed my spirituality. And throughout the years, I've found myself really, really drawn to sharing the tools that I've picked up and that I've learned with other people. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the world we live in is kind of hurting. And I want to say this is I believe in this strongly. By choice, a lot of people are living in pure misery. Now, a lot of people also don't realize that they have a choice. A lot of people think that they have to stay in misery. So my goal, my life's goal, and what I feel truly to be my life's purpose is to help people to find the tools for those that want to choose a better way, a different way, to give them the tools to start working on themselves. By no means am I proclaiming to be someone who's going to heal others. I do feel as though I am a healer, but I have learned that that term does not necessarily mean somebody who goes and puts their hand on someone's forehead and takes away people's pain. I have learned throughout my journey that pain exists for a reason. It is here to teach us lessons. And until we learn those lessons, it's going to keep pressuring us. And the more we choose to be afraid, so fear is going to be a big part of my teachings, but the more we choose to be afraid of the things that cause us pain, the longer we choose to sit in a place where we aren't living out our life's purpose, we are not happy, and we are still in suffering. Suffering is not a terrible thing. Again, it's a tool, but at the same time, it is not necessarily permanent. It's only there until you learn the lesson. And that is one of the things I would love to help people to understand. Throughout my 10-year journey, I started off as a really, really lost person. I had a pretty shit childhood. I didn't have the best relationship with either of my parents. Lots of neglect, not lots of, I guess, abandonment is the best way to put it. Some emotional abuse, things like that there. And at the start of my journey, I really blamed my family for my problems. I felt that I got dealt a shit hand, and I felt that it wasn't fair, and I felt that all of my suffering belonged to them. And then as I started going down this road, I started to really come to understanding that my pain, my suffering, my mental health, everything is in my hands. I started to learn that I had to take accountability for my life. I had to learn to forgive and find understanding, and to choose to take the reins on my own life. And throughout the years and all the different tools that I've found to help me to do so, I have gone from a person who suffered tremendously from PTSD. I was really, really bad with paranoia, anxiety. I had severe trust issues. My ability to let somebody in or ask for help was just non-existent. It was a really sad place to be honest with you. I was always the person trying to save everybody because I wanted to save myself. I wanted someone to save me, I guess is a better way to put that. And then I kind of learned that the only one coming to save me is me. And I see so often in the world that people are always looking for a savior. They're always looking for someone to come and fix their life and make it better. And I would hate to be the bearer of bad news, but guys, that's the one you're looking for is in the mirror. Like, that is just true as it can come. I really wanted to touch on some of the things that I have learned along the way. For one, if there were like main principles that I could put like in a nutshell that would define me and the way that I teach. For one, everything is a choice. If somebody wants to stay in their suffering, that is their choice, that is their free will. We are not to try to impede on that. That is something that I had to learn the hard way, because I would always see people suffering and I would want so badly to be like, hey, I know how to fix this for you. Just listen to me, or let me do it for you. And then I started to realize that I was kind of stepping in the way of their life lessons. Like, I was kind of playing God and trying to decide what they were allowed to feel and how they were allowed to suffer and how they weren't. And that in itself, I've learned, is a huge no-no. If people want to be in toxic spaces, they are totally allowed to do that. Now, the second big thing that I've learned is that just because other people want to live in toxic spaces doesn't mean I have to enter into those spaces. And it doesn't mean that I have to, relate to those spaces and shred my boundaries and be in those spaces so that I don't hurt other people's feelings. So one thing that I've learned is that self-love is huge, right? And there are so many different definitions of self-love. And one of the main defining features of self-love is boundaries. So when people say that they're putting up boundaries, they kind of do it in a way where they're like, I'm going to set this boundary so that you can't cross that boundary. And when people don't respect those boundaries, people get upset about it. And I've learned that boundaries actually should not be shared. Boundaries that you set against somebody or certain situations and what you will and will not entertain in your life don't necessarily need to be put out there. The more you put them out there, the more people are going to want to come and try and challenge them. And people challenging your boundaries is not necessarily a bad thing, because it helps you to become firmer in your boundaries and have more belief in the way that you choose to live. But at the same time, if you're just starting out on this journey and you really suffer with, judgment or codependency, or, saying something and sticking to it and allowing other people's opinions to come and kind of sway you, then I would say definitely as a start, don't share your boundaries with anybody, because just like a toddler, people are going to want to challenge your boundaries. Once you become your boundaries, once you start living your boundaries, you're not going to really have to worry about people crossing them, because they're just going to know. There's just going to be an energy about you that says, hey, that's just not how she does those things. But if you're insecure in your boundaries, people are going to get that. They're going to see that, and they're going to want to see if they can take control of the situation. We do live in a world of control freaks, And it's not necessarily because everybody is super malicious. It's because everybody feels like their life is so out of their control that they would rather try and control their surroundings and other people's lives than actually go within and figure out a way to control their own existence. So yeah, that's my number 2. Number 3, healing sucks. All right. Healing is not an easy thing. You're going to hear me refer to the term shadow work a lot. Shadow work is going into the dark sides of yourself, embracing those pieces, understanding those pieces, learning from them. It's almost like befriending your demons, right? Like what you're afraid of, facing those fears, because you're going to learn a lot about yourself. And the less that can control you through fear, the more you're going to become yourself and be exactly who you want to be and express yourself in exactly the ways you want to. Fear is a huge block for everyone. I mean, really, everybody has been a victim of fear. And what we're afraid of is a great place to start. It's a great indicator at what we need to heal. So shadow work is the art of going in there, figuring out why you're afraid of certain things, pulling out old memories, understanding things from all perspectives, and then of course healing and releasing so that things no longer have control over you. That's a huge part of the things you're going to hear me talk about, is not just finding the source of things, but finding understanding of these things, forgiving, letting go if there's another party involved, understanding their perspective so it's easier to find forgiveness. It doesn't mean that we dismiss people's actions by any means, but it means that we don't have to let other people's actions control our thoughts. When you allow other people to have power over you, that's less of your own energy that you're able to use, and it fragments you. It makes you to where you aren't operating at whole capacity. So anything in your life that has control over you, that is outside of you, you got to learn to call that energy back, heal those things, and start living from within. Stop living from everybody else's perspective. So that's another huge thing that you're going to hear me talk about. Astrology has actually been a huge part of my journey. It was sort of where I started with all this. About midway through learning how to read birth charts and getting super into astrology, I actually realized that astrology is practiced very much incorrectly. The placements that are pulled out in tropical systems and some of the other mainstream systems are not accurate, and it doesn't give you the ability to use your charts for exactly what they're designed to do. So real quick tidbit on astrology. All astrology is literally like a blueprint of your energy. It's a blueprint of who you are and what you came here to do, what karma you came to work out. It definitely gives a great explanation of your life path, your life purpose, things that you've mastered, things that you've come to master, things that have been holding you back for lifetimes, that sort of stuff, and what tools you have to heal those things, and what blockages you've put in place for yourself through different sorts of traumas and fragmenting yourself, like I just referred to, and what needs to be sort of worked on. So you're going to hear me talk about astrology. I'm not talking about mainstream astrology. I'm talking about true sidereal astrology. The sizes of the constellations are not accurate in mainstream astrology. The placements of the celestial bodies are not accurate, and there is another sign that is omitted, and it changes everything. And you're not able to get the full purpose of a chart by having those incorrect placements. So when I do refer on that, there's probably going to be a segment that I end up doing that kind of breaks all that down. It's a beautiful tool. I absolutely love it. I've used it to help a lot of people, and it has helped me not only to understand myself, but to understand my children, to understand my family, to sort of see what I was perceiving as something negative and see what it really is, that it's really a part of who they are, and then using those things to figure out why they trigger me, and then again going, as I just referred, into my own shadow work, working on those triggers and finding myself free of all things that hold me back in life. So that's going to be a big part of the things I talk about. I will definitely talk about herbal medicine. I'm definitely going to refer to energy healing. I'm going to be referring to chakra cleansing. I'm going to be referring to the power of the chakras. That's huge. That's part of our makeup. That's part of our physical body. It's something that is very important. And if we want to do healing, it is a great way to get through it. You'll see me make some videos on meditation. My approach to things is probably going to be pretty unorthodox compared to what you're used to seeing out there. And I do want to say, there's going to be some of you guys that like really enjoy the things that I say. And I want you guys to take from my videos what speaks to you, but I want you to apply in your own way. I'm going to be sharing things I've learned on my path, from my perspective and my experience. And while a lot of the things that I have learned are going to be able to help people, but I don't want you guys to start living my life. You guys are here to live your life. So I think it's really important that I say right off the bat, I don't want anybody like idolizing me in any way or feeling like I've got life figured out. I'm just sharing from my perspective and from what I've learned on my journey. And I want to say that again. I do not know everything. I have learned quite a bit, especially when it comes to healing and mental health. But again, that does not mean that my belief systems aren't going to even evolve from the time that I'm making this video to 10 years from now. I'm sure that they will. I'm always transforming. I'm always growing, and I'm always welcoming that growth. And so there is going to be evolutions in the things that I say. And that's another thing, that's another huge point that I want to put on here right now that I want to talk about. My videos are going to be for those who are really open-minded. So people who are wanting transformation, people who are wanting soul evolution, people who are wanting to get out of the space that they're in, that are not afraid to grow, that are not afraid to move past and let go of old energy and old things that are no longer serving them. Those are the people that these videos are for. If you're a person that's really stuck in your ways and you're really stuck in your mindset and you don't want to hear anything against you, then this probably isn't for you, and I am totally okay with that. This is for the people that are looking for a place to go with somebody who has a like mind and that has experiences different, that may be able to help others on their journey that have similar journeys. So that's what the hell I'm doing here. Again, I'm Corinna. I'm excited to do these videos. I can't wait to put more of this stuff out. And in advance, I want to thank everybody who has supported me to this point, everybody who has pushed me to get out of my shell and really gain my, I want to say, confidence to come out here and do this. I've been doing this kind of work for a long time, one-on-one, probably even before I knew it was something I was going to do with my life. And I now feel comfortable enough to come out here and do this for people on the internet, which was a huge fear of mine. Another reason why I am doing it is because I don't want anything to limit me in any way. So that's a little bit about me. Oh, one more thing. You guys are definitely going to hear me talk about horses here and there. I do run a horse healing business. That's kind of what I do. I help people to build their confidence and overcome mental obstacles such as anxiety. I work with some autistic kids, people who have focus problems, people who have control problems, fears of letting go. I help people work through traumas, that sort of stuff. So I'm very connected with nature, very connected with horses, and that is going to be something that I likely talk about as well. But if you've watched this far in the video, I appreciate the heck out of it, and I look forward to meeting you guys, interacting with you more on here. Please feel free to comment anything or to send me messages if there's videos that you'd love for me to make, or you have something you're struggling with in your life. If I'm able to be helpful on it, I will do my best. If it's something that I feel I'm just not equipped to handle just yet, then I will try and help you find a source that could be of benefit for you. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.